Welcome back, everybody, to Chasing the Rut, presented by Wild Faith. It's the week of October 27th, Halloween week. Couldn't get more exciting. We're on the verge of it becoming chaos. We're in that final stretch before bucks start to lose their minds and everything flips upside down overnight in the Whitetail Woods. I can say from personal experience, being out this past weekend, it was good. Bucks were up on their feet, pasturing does. We're on that verge of that first doe maybe coming to the heat. There's scrapes all over the woods. You should be seeing lots and lots of fresh sign, and bucks are starting to get up on their feet earlier and earlier. We're not into the rut yet, but we're still kicking off right into the middle of the pre-rut right now, and this is the week that all bow hunters wait for every year. And we have a great set lineup for you guys this week. We got Sam Melton on talking about his stud of a buck that he shot this past week, and we have Ryan Murray on breaking down hunting in egg country and breaking down late October tactics. So without further ado, let's dive into this week's episode. Like I said, we're on Halloween week, October 27th. So be sure to tag us in all your photos. If you have success out in the field, just hashtag Wild Faith, or you can DM us on Instagram. So good luck to everybody out there hunting this week. And it's going to get spooky and the deer are going to be moving. So get out there and good luck, everybody. Let's dive into this week's episode. We have Sam Melton in the house, and we also have my daughter who's in the background, which you might hear from time to time. But Sam, how are we doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. I know you got your hands full there with the kiddos, but I appreciate you guys having me on. And yeah, I'm doing great. Shot a nice big mature whitetail, and
he's just kind of big. He's not like just super big. He's just kind of big. No, right. He's really big.
Yeah, no, I'm still on cloud 9 from it. So yeah, that's all I've been thinking about here for the last few days is this buck and just the whole story and how crazy the things just went down. So, I mean, I'm excited to share.
Wind, temperature, pressure, kind of a gamut.
It was probably like 70 degrees almost. I think it was like 68 warm. Maybe. It was warm last Friday. And so that's what kind of made me nervous. But we had a west wind, and so it was going right out into the beans. And so I just felt really good about that. And so that's probably mostly kind of why I made the decision to hunt there. And actually it's more even kind of a southwest wind. And anyways, as I'm sitting there, it's getting a lot closer to dark. So now I'm just kind of bored and standing up anyways. I like to just try to stand up that last little bit, even though I don't really want to. And I look across the field and there's some does, I think there's 4 does that came out. They're probably 200 yards across the field, almost like where I walk in from, which is kind of funny to see them. You know, yeah. I walk probably right by them when they're in there bedded down or whatever. But they slowly just make their way towards me along the edge of the beans in the woods, and they come to 20 yards right under me. And they're walking, and they're going to cross in between that little gap in between me and the end of those trees. Or that brush area. And so they stop at right under me. They're looking up at me. My stand's not very high. I mean, 10 feet, 12 feet. I don't know, like pretty low. Yeah. They're looking at me. Thankfully, like they don't bust me. I just stay still, and they kind of keep creeping about 10 yards past where I'm sitting. And as soon as they got downwind of that, their heads go up, noses are sniffing. And I'm like, dang it.
Oh boy.
This is, this is not good. Like right, prime time. And, they end up getting spooked and running back the opposite way down to my right. And
were they blowing too?
No. And thankfully they did not blow. That probably is what saved me and got me this buck, is they did not blow. They just turned around and they kind of just jotted off that way, maybe 50, 60, 80 yards. And they right before they did that, I saw the one doe looking up to my left, which is just up the wood line to where I set that other stand and where I put a mock scrape and where he had come out on October 7th. And so I'm like, I don't see anything, no body or nothing. So I look up there, and with my binos, and I just see the big rack, and I knew exactly right away that it was him. And I can barely see him because the hill kind of just barely crests, and he's hitting the scrape, that the mock scrape that I made, and it's like 6 o'clock, 6:15 maybe, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like not only is he like here, like this is like he's got plenty of time to work to me.
Yeah.
And so he sees those deer running that way, and in my head I'm like, you sucker, like I should have been sitting in that stand. Like the fact that I didn't sit
How
in
far
that
is that stand from the stand you're in right now?
125 yards.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So well, I mean, that's how far he was. I ranged to the edge of that woods. That was 125. My stand's probably 100 yards. And so I'm thinking, like, you dummy, like he is 30 yards making a scrape. And, you know, but it is kind of down. He would have been downwind right there. So I'm not sure if he would have came out if I was sitting in that stand. But either way, I'm thinking that really sucks. And so all of a sudden he sees those does run the opposite way. And he just looks up. And he's like, I got to check it out. And he just comes like on a beeline, just walking real fast, like just walking right to, like he just wanted to come and see. I don't know if he thought there was a small buck or if he just thought, you know, just come check things out. There's other deer. And so I didn't even have to grunt or do anything. And he came, I just get ready. I get my rangefinder, and in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to range find one spot. And like, that's watching where he's coming down the bean row. Like, I think he's just going to keep that, and he's going to work his way inside right where they were standing and down towards them. So I'm thinking, I'm going to shoot him as soon as he's probably like 30 yards. Maybe he keeps walking. I get him at like 20, which would be ideal because then he'd be perfectly broadside.
Yeah.
And he just keeps coming, doesn't even stop. I can hear him grunting the whole way. And so I just range the one spot. I didn't really cut that side great, but I had enough openings. And so I ranged the one spot, and it's like 28. Then the second time I range it, it's like 33. And I'm like, oh, I don't like this, you know? I don't like this. But it's like on beans, and it's like, you just like, it can catch behind it or it can catch in front of it. Like there's no like good landmark to range on an open bean.
Are you running
field.
a slider sight, or do you have like fixed pins, or what's the sight you're running?
I have the HHA 3-pin.
Okay.
Is it the Nitrix?
So you've got a dedicated 3-pin setup that you can slide. Yeah.
Yep. And so I have 20, 30, 40, and then if I need to, I have worked it down, and my last pin just being 50. And honestly, with shooting, I've been putting them in a pretty good pocket. And so, but obviously I like those 20, 30. Even 30, even 30 sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's got to be right. But so he's working, and I just range that spot. And like I said, I get 2 different ranges. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll range like the top end of that little opening and like the bottom end. So I was just like, no. And it was like 37 to the kind of the top end of that opening. And I'm glad I ranged it, because I put the rangefinder down. I did not want to be like with that big of a buck, and just the way things have gone. I'm like, I don't want to be monkeying around. Yeah. Like, I'm putting the rangefinder away. If he works out, like, I can kind of guess based on that one range, and that's what I'm going to do, which is a bold move, because he stops at 40 yards or what I would assume to be 40 yards. So really not far from where my opening is. And I maybe could have shot there. Wouldn't have felt great about it, just with, I don't know exactly where the arrow would have flown. If it really would have flown true to where my pin was, then it would have been fine. But like, if it flies a little bit lower coming out of my bow, I could have hit a twig or something. So I didn't feel great. And I was like, please keep walking. And he lifts his head and he looks up and he's looking around, and I just see the mass on him, and he's just sniffing the air. And that's right where my wind's going now. So he's like almost to where those does are, and downwind now of me. And I did not like that. That made me really nervous. I'm like, he's going to bolt. He's just going to stop and turn the other way. And he ends up, I was like, just please, Lord, help him to take a few more steps. And he did. He took a few more steps, but he kind of turned So right now he's kind of quartering to me as he's walking, and he kind of turns out away from me. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, oh crap, he's gonna loop, he's gonna kind of do like a weird bubble, and so I pull back and I kind of I just barely crouch down so that way it kind of opened up that opening a little bit, and I met, and he probably took maybe 3-4 steps forward based off where I thought he was at 40. So I'm thinking he's about 36, 37 yards, kind of right at the top of that opening.
Sure.
I just crouched just enough to make it easier, and I go, Matt, and he stops. And when he did, he turned and like looked at me. So he's kind of quartering hard, and I really don't love that shot. And so I just really put it on where I thought would be vitals, and I let it fly. And as soon as I hit him, he just turns and does the biggest mule kick. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, that is a good sign. And I mean, sign. Feet straight out, and I'm like, oh, that's great. But in my head, with the experiences that I've had, I'm thinking I shot a little bit more forward. So I'm like, oh, like in my head, I see the mule kick, which is really, really good. But I just like saw the more forward shot, and I'm like, I just hit the shoulder again. I just hit the shoulder on a monster. And so I don't even really know what to think as he ran towards the woods, and then he ran straight up kind of where he came from, and I saw the arrow sticking out about 4 or 5 inches. And so I knew, I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good with the mule kick, and the arrow's in that far, and I'm shooting.
You're saying it was buried with only 4 or 5 inches left.
Yeah, to the luminance.
That's good.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, really good.
I was thinking it's the other way around. I'm like, well, I mean, that's kind of good.
No, I would have been heartbroken, and I probably would have hung it up after that. But no, he 4 inches to the knock and to the luminoc, and so that was great. I could see really well, and he jumps into the woods, and as soon as he jumps in the woods, I just hear crash, crash, crash. And then nothing. And so like I'm just like, I think I got him. Like I'm like the Luke Bryan, like, is he down? Is he down? Is he down? And I'm like, oh man, I'm praying that he is. I'm really like still kind of thinking I hit the shoulder, but like I know that I got a ton of penetration. Yeah. So I'm feeling pretty good. But just like I said, with the year it's been, I'm like, I just can't get myself too worked up, but I called my dad right away, and I just stay silent because like where he crashed is probably like 60 yards from my stand. That's it, and that's where it was. And I called my dad and let him know, and I called my other buddy. I called my wife. I called my other buddy. Like I'm texting the family group chat. They all know which one I hit because I sent that picture to them earlier, and so they're all like, all right. Yep, they're kind of, my dad's making the clan, getting them all together because they're back in up north an hour, and so they're getting ready to kind of come down. I want everyone there again. Like I'm feeling way better this time. Like hearing a crash, seeing the penetration, and just knowing that he mule kicked like he did. I'm feeling really good. And but again, I was like, I'm just gonna stay in the stand and just like make sure I don't hear him get up. Make sure that I get down when it's like dark, so he just doesn't like. I'm gonna get down so slow.
You didn't sit all night though, did you?
No, never. I'm never doing that again. I got down so slow. I mean, just ridiculous. And so I get out, and I walk, a way that I actually never walk in. But I did not want to walk in through the beans, and even just that noise of walking through the beans, I didn't even go check the blood. I knew, like, nope, the blood's still going to be there when we come back. Like, I'm walking out this way, and like I said, I was trying to be the most silent that I could. I just did not want anything to go wrong, and so I get out to my truck, and this is where the fun really starts. So we got him, and we got him, and oh man, it was nothing like. I've had ground shrinkage before, and it was like ground growth. I mean, it's
honestly, it's the best feeling in the world where all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, it's bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. Just picking that thing up. And actually, I think my dad kind of beat me to it and quick grabbed up the rack. And I was like, oh, let me, like, I just want to, lift it up for the first time and just get that feel. But no, I was so happy to have my family there. And
At least you had an army that drag it out to get it off that property to celebrate.
Because he was 225 pounds dressed. So I'm guessing probably around 260 that he weighed.
Unit.
Really excited. I think I'm going to send in the teeth and see how old he is. And so, we're all freaking out. I mean, everyone's just like, congratulations, Sam. Like, this is so awesome. He had another sweet tine that like came off his like base. That's really cool. Just, it's so sweet when you see deer like that, and then like on camera, and then like even in person, and then you actually get to hold them. It's just like, it's so cool. Like if you get that experience, like chasing new deer is obviously super fun. You get a new buck that runs through, but like being able to like know what he looked like and just imagine how big he is, and then just like being there. I mean, he had 6-inch bases. I mean, huge. And so it was awesome. And we lived up that moment, all right, let's get off this property. Like, let's get off. As soon as we got off, I text landowner my name and sent that, hey, we're off the property. And that was that. I haven't heard anything back from them, but got it back on ours. And the guy didn't want me dragging it on the beans or anything because the farmer hadn't cut it. And so thankfully I brought like a sled, and we just kept it like right on the edge, but it definitely made the walk and drag a lot longer. So we had to go all the way around. And then there's kind of like I'm going to say a peninsula, kind of just like a peninsula of trees that we're going around, and then back, like hooked back again, because it's just too thick to go through. But that was a fun drag out, just the guys, and I got a sweet video of us like dragging him past the camera, and I had it all on video mode. And so, I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, you got your brothers there and cousins, and it's just, that's a great time. And so that was super cool.
Love it. Yeah. That's what it's all about. And it's, the nice thing, the thing about it too, of where it's like, that drag might have sucked, but at the same time, it only made it better which is awesome, is you brought everybody that you love with you, that's out there, that's cheering you on as you're doing it, as much as hard as it probably was,
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it was awesome. And like, we just had a great time, and thankfully, like with that many guys too, you can trade off and whatever. Yeah. So it really was not bad at all. Do it again in a heartbeat for sure. But yeah, we get him back to the truck, and we take him to, stopped at the KT, we wanted to get him under some lights and just kind of, all right, let's put the tape to this thing. Like, we've all kind of, as we've talked and walked now for an hour, we're like, let's see how big he is. And, which, score is, whatever, but it's also, it's so fun to guess on cameras and then figure it out. So
what is it actually?
We all took a guess at the gas station there, and I think most of us were in the 160s.
Okay.
Including myself. I was hoping to be higher 60s. And I was really hoping like it'd be like, gosh, it would be sick if he was over 70. Yeah. And so I guessed, and we all guessed, and my grandpa, like 13 years ago, he shot a 168 non-typical, like kickers everywhere, up north in Spooner area. And that was like, that was like in the paper and everything. And that was, like I said, 168. And so, my uncle, he scored it, and he's pretty like firm on scoring stuff too. So I'm already like, I'm not going to get the little eighths of an inch here and there. Yeah. Right. And so we all guess, and he's like, Dad, what was your buck? And Grandpa's like 168. And he looks at me, he's like,
did that one gross out at 168, or is that a net 168? It doesn't matter.
I think gross. Yeah. I think gross. Just with a non-typical. And he looks at me and he's like, Sam, you just missed it. And he's like 172 and 3/8. And I just like, I kind of freak out because I'm like, holy smokes! Like, I did not expect him to go over 170,
Yeah.
and so I just turned and I like pump fist towards my grandpa. I think he thought maybe I was gonna hit him, and he kind of like jumped back. I felt bad, and then I hugged my dad, and I was like, wow, like I just killed a giant. And if you would have told me like after I shot or hit that other one, like if you had told me like, yeah, like the Lord's got something better in store, like I don't think so. Like I don't think it gets better than that last buck. And like don't doubt God. Don't like I mean
Never doubt him out. Break down for me like those 3 keys to success for this particular buck that made you successful.
one, I would say play in the wind. I really think like with this hunt and with this deer, one night before that I did kind of hunt when the wind wasn't great. And I think it was probably like a really good night for deer to show up, and nothing ended up showing up. And I wonder if that was maybe why. I have no idea, but I mean, I do think that playing the wind this time, I mean, clearly it made a difference as soon as he got down to where he was. Like he smelled a little bit and he knew something was up. And so just like being ready to be quick there. But I think, 2, just the dedication and the practice, like knowing your shots. And obviously I didn't have the best of luck this year, but like still being confident. Like I was still confident to take that shot when he was 36, 37 yards, and even quartering to me. Like I still felt really confident. Just like I did feel confident on the last, couple deer. So I think, putting in the time and practicing and feeling confident there. And third one, I mean, I really think that putting the rangefinder down, ranging one spot and then putting it down and knowing like I have to be ready to make a split second choice, split second shot, split second decision. Like I put that rangefinder down, like as soon as that deer took another step, when he stopped for a little bit, as soon as he took another step, I pulled back. Like why I did that, I don't really know, but you make a split second decision, and those are the things that can really get you an opportunity at a nice buck, or a shot or whatever. I mean, you wait until he stops again, he's looking around, and then he sees you pull back like that. It just the timing of it. And so just being ready, and like I said, just being ready to make a split second decision and knowing that you can do that. And like you said, you kind of get into that killer mindset, kind of like last year. Like that buck came running, grabbed my bow, pulled back as I'm turning around, come in. Like I had no time to think. I just kind of sink to being a hunter and just like taking all the knowledge and what you've learned going out years after years, and putting that into play in a what feels like 5-6 seconds.
Yeah.
So
well, and I think with that too, I mean, like I think when people think of bow hunters, they don't really think of us as athletes, but I like to think that we are, in terms of, think of all the arrows that you shoot in the summertime and all that muscle memory that you're building, but not only just shooting, but understanding your distances too, of where you're constantly ranging things. Like when I'm golfing, I love doing that. I'm just like, how far do you think that is? And I'll guess, and I'll usually be within like 5 yards or whatever that is. And I think with that too, of where it's, you start, especially for that shot you made on that deer, you start breaking down that 2-3 yard different increments where it's, you don't have time to pull up your rangefinder. You have to go with what your gut tells you. And a lot of times instinctively, you're right. Or you just make a better shot, just because you kind of let your body take over that muscle memory. So I think that's a big part in it too.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, you kind of get into that, like, I mean, I don't know, Joe Rogan would probably be like, it's because you just sink to that, your ancestor, like just that, like you're back to the primal days. And like, you got to put meat on the table for the family. Like, I don't know what it is, but you really do. Like people that are hunting with longbows and recurves, like, I mean, sometimes even without sights, and it's like, what? But you just, I don't know. Sometimes you just know. And I think also, like, when a deer is sometimes I feel like your deer is like your deer. I think I talked about that before with a buck that I had a couple years ago. Like just the way that all happened and the shot placement and everything. And it was like, how'd that even happen? Like directly under me. And like, sometimes I think too, like your deer is just like maybe bound to be your deer. So maybe I just got lucky on that shot too. But like, I don't know.
That's part of it. I think there is definitely is like a combination of, I would say, I really would love to break that down. I would say maybe 60% of it is hard work and time and effort put into it. But man, like when it comes down to it, you got that other 20% of just executing. And then that last 20%, I feel like is always just luck of where everything has got to happen right. That deer's got to cross that shooting lane that he hope he does or makes that step or whatever it is.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, think a coyote could run out. Those does could blow. A bear could be out like what I had before. Another buck behind him could have showed out at the scrape and he turns around, sees that, doesn't like it. There's a lot that you're just putting yourself there for a chance. And when you get that chance and it pays off, I mean, that's why it's so, I love duck hunting and turkey hunting but it's just not quite as rewarding as a mature deer. Cause it's just like, too many things that have to go right. And a lot of times don't even go right and you still get lucky. I mean, it's like, that's what makes it so fun and rewarding.
Cool, man. Well, Sam, thank you so much for hopping again. And guys, thanks so much for listening and we'll catch you next week. All right, everybody, I want to welcome in Ryan Murray. Ryan, how are we doing tonight?
Doing real good, Evan. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, man. Welcome back. We're back where this is actually like similar, if not the exact timing of when we did our episode last year.
Yeah, it's got to be real close.
It's got to be really close, but exciting times where we have some fun stuff to talk about, some success stories. But before we get into that, I want to just kind of dive into where we're at right now. We're falling into the week of Halloween, which is pretty much like for anybody that I know that are big bow hunters, this is like dream time, big time bucks. We're talking pre-rut kicking off in the full swing here. What do you kind of got planned going into the pre-rut for this week in terms of just tactics and conditions, maybe kind of break down a little bit where you're geographically located and just kind of how that plays into effect?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm in northern Minnesota. I mean, almost as far north as you can go, couple miles from the Canadian border. I mean, this week, we've got deer up here really just starting to kind of hit that pre-rut, starting to see a lot of scrapes and a lot of rubs firing up now this week. So I think some of the warmer temperatures that we've been dealing with here have kind of seems like they've been delaying everything, at least for us. But just this last week, really, we were out, kind of gathering some new intel on deer. We've got a couple of bucks in particular that we're really going hard after. So we were out moving some stands, just kind of shifting things a little bit, based on just kind of some lack of activity at current stand locations. So we were out moving stands and really, really pumped with the sign that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. And even really some of the activity we're seeing too on some of these younger bucks are really starting to fire up.
Have you been seeing any chasing going on for like those 3.5, 2.5-year-olds?
Yeah, a little bit. Those 6 or 8 those fawns come out right away, and that first spike fork walks out and he's nosing around, kind of trying to see what's going on. So we're just kind of starting to see the starting phase of that. You'll still have that 2.5, 3.5-year-old buck out there kind of looking at him like, hey, what's going on? But yeah, just starting to see that stuff fire up. We've had, like I said before, some warmer temps. I would maybe say unseasonably warm, but we've had, I think, 2 cold fronts come through up here that come to mind, 2 big cold fronts that have come through that myself and the guys that I hunt with up here have hunted, and activity was tremendous during both of those cold fronts. So I see this week, kind of looking at the weather, we're not going to really see what I'd like to see.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, I actually just looking at it too before the podcast, and we're just not something I'm super thrilled about. It's the wind's blowing 50 miles an hour out of the south right now today, so we're going to see some warmer weather. I do think though towards the tail end of the week we're going to at least see some cooler weather. It's
looking
coming.
like even here in Baxter, we're looking at. I mean, this is next week now, but tailing into next week from Halloween to like the 3rd, we're talking lows in the 30s in the morning.
Okay.
So it's a little better. It's better.
Yeah. Yeah. We had one day in particular during the week that we had, I think it was like upper 20s, 28 or something like that, hard frost, and the cameras just went nuts,
Have you guys had a frost yet?
We did on,
okay.
I think it was Wednesday or Thursday of this week. We had a good hard frost, and yeah, the deer were on their feet. I didn't hunt that night, but another guy did. And I mean, it was one of those nights where you saw like 20 deer, they were out early
and out in the field,
and they were moving. Yep.
So, in particular to where you're at, would you say most of ag is out for the most part, or do you guys still have, I know you don't have standing corn really up where you guys are at, but I know there's still a lot of ag that's around.
Yep. Yeah. So no standing corn in my immediate area where I hunt, but we, about 2 weeks ago, we got about 3 inches of rain, and I think since then we're totaled to like 5 inches of rain. So we are super wet, especially the farm that I hunt. And of course I farm a little on the side. So one part of me is like, I'm dying to get the crops up, but then the other part's like, hey, I got a massive food plot out here. But with that's one thing that's really making it hard to pattern deer. And that's kind of why we moved our stands. Generally this time of the year, the crops are all off, and food plots are, that's our bread and butter. And that's where we're kind of focusing our efforts. And this year with these vast amount of crops that are still out there, it's really, really got the deer patterned, unlike anything that I'm used to. So, which is fine. We're just kind of having to change. I'm a pretty regimented person. So I know like once the crops are off, I'm going to hunt this area. I'm going to hunt that area. And so I had kind of all my stands set accordingly. And now that things are a little bit different, we're just having to kind of move around a little, having to kind of resort more to the scouting tactics. Been out a lot with the binos and the spotting scopes, just looking for deer. They're just kind of moving all over the place. So
would you say, so being where we're at right now in this time frame, kind of kicking into that full swing of the pre-rut now, with being where you're at geographically, you're kind of similar to where I'm at here in southeastern Minnesota, where we got a good mixture of small timberwood lots, some bigger timberwood lots, and a lot of ag. I think some of the things you just said right there is key of where we're talking about finding fresh sign and scouting and just kind of being in the spot that you need to be, because it's just ever kind of changing. What would you say kind of going into this week then is going to be your tactic when you get out in the woods?
Yeah, definitely going to be looking for that fresh sign. That's going to be key number one. And then for me, I live a pretty busy lifestyle with a couple of kids, and so I don't have the luxury of going out a lot. But I'm going to try to get out a couple times this week in the evenings before dark, and kind of try to put eyes on some of the fields that I'm hunting, some of the areas that I'm hunting. But yeah, primarily I'm going to be out looking for that fresh sign, and hunting that hard.
Awesome. Love it. Well, that's super exciting. We're getting into the best time of the year right now. This is my favorite time to kill a big buck, just because this is where, when, especially if, you're similar to me, where it's like you actually got a little bit of private ground in some surrounding land around you that you can hunt, where you can kind of control it a little bit. And I feel like this is your best window to kill the number one deer on the farm. And then in about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, it's too late and they're out chasing does 3 miles away. So
that's right. we're getting to that point. Yeah.
But another exciting news, though, and we're a little late to the gun on this, but that's okay. I wanted to talk about the success you guys had during the youth season. Olivia was able to capitalize again on an even bigger buck this year, which is awesome. Yes. So maybe just kind of break down that success story and kind of what tactics you guys put in to make that happen.
Yeah. I mean, she's fallen in love with hunting and I'm loving it. It's a hobby that we can share together and nothing beats sitting in the deer stand with your kid. But yeah, she was pumped up for this year's hunt. We actually, had a family vacation plan, which ate up most of the youth gun hunt. So she was a little bittersweet about that, but, we had a window. We got home late Saturday of the gun hunt. And, it wasn't a lot of trail camera activity at the stands that we were hunting. So, just had that feeling I had to get out, literally, got in a plane in Tennessee, flew to Minneapolis, drove the 6 hours back to Roseau, got home, put the car in drive, hopped in my pickup and went out scouting right away. Tried to catch that last hour before dark just to see what was moving. And, so we went to this spot that I had a feeling there was going to be some activity, and we saw a couple bucks that she was pretty excited about. So saw them up on their feet early before dark. So we went in. It's actually a field, an egg field that was harvested, but deer are still hitting it. So we went out there and we saw a ton of deer. I think we probably saw over 20 deer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. And first 6-pointer came out and she's like, "Dad, I'm shooting it." I'm like, all right.
All right.
I said, and luckily for her, she didn't get a shot at that one, but this one came out about an hour before dark and she just absolutely hammered it. I was so pumped. She heart shot it.
Was that her first one with the suppressor too?
It is.
Yeah,
it is. And yeah, I think I've ruined both of my kids now. I'm going to have to buy another one because they're not going to get me back to me, So yeah,
nice.
They're both just stone cold killers, and it's fun. I love it.
Oh no, it's awesome, and that's so fun too. And like I got to live with or vicariously live through Nora's eyes this weekend when we were out bow hunting here in southeastern Minnesota. We didn't shoot anything, and so she's only 4, so she can't really shoot yet. I mean, so it's like I am so excited to get to a point where she can be. I think is it 12 or how young can you have a kid harvest a deer with an adult? Can you do it under 12 if they're under adult supervision for youth season or?
You can, yeah. So in Minnesota youth, the youth hunt, they can start at 10.
Okay.
So they can start at 10 years old. They have to hunt with an adult, obviously. But yeah, if calendar year, when they're 10 years old at the start of that season, they can hunt. So
okay.
This is Olivia's 3rd year, and next year will be Sam's first. So
that's crazy. Where's time gone?
I know, right, man? It's nuts.
Crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's a different experience. They've always come out with me in the stand and sat. They've always been really good about that, and they've experienced me shooting a few deer, and but it's so much fun for them to be on the other side and for me to be on the other side and watch them. She stuck the gun out the window, and she had quite a bit of time to get set, which was good. But I could kind of hear the breathing get a little heavier as time went on, and she kind of looks up at me and she's like, "Dad, my heart's really starting to pound." And I'm like, "All right, no, it's, walking up to that deer, there's just no better feeling in the world than, the two of us walking up there together and seeing that thing laying there." And it was like, yeah. So
did you guys do a year amount on it?
We're going to.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to. Yeah. Yep. She's already got a spot picked out in her bedroom for it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
She's stacking them up there in the bedroom. So that's awesome.
That's good. Well, so just kind of before we close things out here, I mean, is there any kind of maybe predictions or just things that you're going to try to do or implement here kind of going into the next 2 weeks here before we kick off for gun season? you know, I know you got a couple nice ones running around. I mean, hopefully you can get her done.
Yeah. You know, I like I said before the scouting, I think these last couple of years, what
was the time frame? Was it the 15th? Was it middle of October when you killed your buck last year, or was it this week? I can't remember.
No, it was earlier. It was earlier in October. Yeah,
maybe it was the first weekend.
It was the first weekend in October that I shot my buck last year, and then prior to that, I had shot actually in September. So I've had a lot more early season success lately. So I'm kind of reeling here, man. I'm
chasing
I don't know what to do. Normally this time of the year I'm just kicking back, but no, I think like I said before, I'm gonna rely heavily on scouting with the crops being out the way they are. It's gonna be a lot harder to pattern these deer, specifically to food plots. So you know, they're gonna start transitioning to going where the does are at. So you know, I'm gonna start kind of hunting those food sources and those areas where there's maybe a little bit more doe activity. But you know, I'm guilty of it myself too, right? Like you look at your trail cameras and you're like, you know, there's really nothing going on. It's hard to get excited, but you know, I get out there, you know, get some glass on some of your hunting areas if you've got the ability, you know, and just keep cruising around and seeing what's going on, and you know, don't necessarily rely on that trail camera activity, but you know, just get in the woods. I mean, we all know this time of the year, it's anything 100%. Can happen. I mean, you know, if it's not your target buck, something random comes cruising through, like they're going to start moving. So,
and I know down by us in southeastern Minnesota right now, we have, and just an like so much corn that is still up right now. We probably have, I mean, by our farm, we still probably have about, I don't know, 700 acres of corn that's up. And I know that's housing a ton of deer right now. So I'm praying
that's tough
before I go down in 2 weeks that it's completely gone. But
that's
to your
tough.
point with the trail cameras though, I mean, like we just did a complete swap on the farm. We already kind of, shot a doe. So we kind of already, you know, we established that we were just going to drive the tractor around. We bugged out the woods. That was okay. And we moved all of our cameras onto fresh sign, or what we could find, fresh scrapes and stuff, because to your point of where, you know, you just got to get on the woods. Well, we weren't seeing anything really for movement the last couple of days. And then we both went out and sat. We saw almost 30 deer, and we didn't get any of those deer on trail camera. So it just goes to show you, once you can get it on fresh sign, but you don't really know what's happening in the woods unless you're out there.
No, 100%. I mean, that's, you know, we just moved a set. We moved one of our stands and cameras to a new location, and I didn't hunt that night, but I was watching the Tacticam. You know, my brother-in-law was out there, and I was refreshing, you know, every 10 minutes. And he called me when he got back to his truck. I was fully expecting him to say like that was a total flop, like miserable night. And he's like, I saw like 18 deer, saw 5 different bucks, and I'm like,
what?
Where were you sitting? You know, and he's like, well, I was in the stand that we just hung on. I'm like, what? You know, so those deer, and he's like, well, and I actually did notice this when he left. He kind of repositioned the camera. Well, those deer had came out on a different trail. It was, you know, we put it on the more heavily used trail, but those deer were coming out on maybe a little bit less heavy used trail for whatever reason. And so I only saw 2 of those deer on that camera. You know, so I mean, trail camera placement's huge. Well, but we had 2 completely different experiences, him being in the stand and me looking at the camera. So I'm guilty of it. Like I'll look at it and I'm like, I don't want to hunt, man. There's nothing going on. There's no deer moving. And then, you know, so, you just got to get in the woods. That's this time of the year.
You have to. I mean,
simple.
Even like, I think of now where it's like, even on those days where it is like a little warm, it's like, you never know. It could totally happen.
100%.
Cool. Yep. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck these upcoming weeks before gun season. And if you still haven't burned a tag by then, good luck during gun season, and we look forward to having you on again.
Sounds good. Thanks, Evan. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in to this week's Chasing the Rut. Huge thank you to Sam Melton and to Ryan Murray for hopping on, and good luck to everyone out there in the whitetail woods. This is the week that big bucks are going to hit the dirt here in the Midwest and across the rest of the country. So good luck to everybody out there. Once again, we'd love to hear from you guys. Send your pictures in to us, take us on Instagram, and good luck, everybody, and happy hunting.